Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hello, my name is Emily. This is MacInnis Mama, where you will find mostly bookish content. Do you remember when I gave a series update and a bit of a challenge to myself to meet my goals in the fall? Well, I did not succeed, so I will link up in the cards that video I did where I gave you an update on all the series that I'm in the middle of. At the time, it was 50, and I had a goal to finish 5 series, or else I needed to go on a book buying ban. I'm now currently in the middle of 53 series. So I did not meet that goal. I didn't have I wasn't not allowed to start a new series, but I'm getting distracted. The only series that I actually finished in the fall was Throne of Glass, which was a reread for me. That's the only one. I did DNF 2 series in the fall, the Pale Court Duet and the Mate Games. So I did reduce 3 series. I did remove 3 series off my list, but not the 5 I was aiming for. So therefore, I am on a book buying ban until I read 30 books off of my physical TBR. And I will be updating you guys on this. Let me know if you want a separate video or just in my monthly wrap-ups, if I should include the stats of where I'm at on reducing my physical TBR. I have some books I'm going to be unhauling that are unread, but I'm not going to count those. I need to actually read 30 books off my physical TBR, which is over 250 books. I also did a video on all of the books on my physical TBR, which I can link in the cards. My overall goal for this year is to get my physical TBR under 200 books, but I think reading 30 of them first and being on a book buying ban, I might need some motivation to keep going and treat myself with a book. So that is my plan currently. I do want to give a quick series update, let you know which series I did continue on, because I did focus on continuing series in the fall. And I will end this video with, I have a stack of series finales that I own physically. I will say I got 3 gift cards to Indigo for Christmas, and my birthday is in January. I often get books as gifts. My gift cards can be used outside of my book buying ban if they are sequels to series I have already started and I need to buy the physical book to continue. I could always get them from my library, but if I'm going to want to own this sequel eventually anyways, it seems silly to get it from the library while I'm on my book buying ban, read a library copy, and later buy the physical book to be unread on my shelves. I cannot just buy any random book I am interested in with those gift cards unless I have already read the 30 books off my TBR. I don't plan on blowing all 3 of my gift cards in one shopping trip, but I have some reading vlogs coming up where I'm going to be reading sequels or finales, and I might need to purchase a book to complete those. So that is the only exception. Now I'll get into all of the series I continued with since my last video, and like I said, finish off with the sequels and finales that I have in the wings. So a series I started and continued on with is the Gilded Wolves series by Roshani Chokshi. In September, I read The Gilded Wolves, the first book, and in December, I read The Silvered Serpents, the second book. I do have The Bronzed Beasts, the third and final book, on hold at my library, so that will be a series I will be crossing off my list. As mentioned, I did read Kingdom of Ash and finish my reread for Throne of Glass. That is my favorite series. I loved that reread. I'm so happy I did that with my bookish bestie, Sam. Sam and I also started the Never After series by Emily McIntyre. Since my last video, we read Hooked together, and this month in January we are going to read the second book, which is Scarred, so I already plan on continuing with that series. In October, I chose to DNF The Mate Games by Kay Lorraine and Meg Ann after reading Rejection, the second book in that series, and really not having a good time with something that happened in that book and having no interest in continuing. Also in October, I read The Subtle Knife by Philip Pullman. This is the second book in the His Dark Materials, so I only have the finale left, and I do own this physically as well. I forgot to pull it. It's not in my stack I'm going to share with you soon, but the Amber Spyglass I do also own, and maybe I can fit that in before winter is over because it is a very cold, wintry setting, though I don't have any strong desire to finish that series. I started and am now caught up again. I reread ACOTAR again with Sam. We read all the books that are out since my last update and had a fantastic time reading those. In October, I read Titan by Gillian Graves. This is the start of a new series called Romancing His Stone, but the second book is not out yet, so it is on my books I'm caught up on section in my series tracker. I started the Midnight Harbor series by Nikki St. Crow in reading The Hot Vampire Next Door Season 1. These are very short, dark, paranormal romance, and I'm really looking forward to continuing with those. I read Lore Olympus Volume 4, which I was hoping would cross a series off my list and really trying to get to those 5, but I read it too late and now volume 5 is out, so I'm waiting for that from my library. So technically I didn't meet my goal, but I tried to catch up on that series, just the next one came out again. I started The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I'm so excited about this series. It's like YA Criminal Minds. I've read the first book at hyper speed. I loved it so much, but it is a 4-book series that I have now added into my series tracker. I continued with the Hot and Hammered series by Tessa Bailey. This is a series of adult romance standalones. You don't have to read them in order, but I do include this type of series on my series tracker, so I only have the 3rd and final book to complete. Again, it's already on hold at my library. Those are all of the series I started, continued, and finished since my last series update. I'm not going to go through all of the series I'm in the middle of again. Maybe mid-year I will do a full series audit, but I am currently in the middle of 53 series. That number includes series that I am completely caught up on. I don't differentiate. But there are 13 series that I only have the finales to read. So that is where I want my focus to be right now, is actually knocking some of these series off the list. I never want to fully limit myself on starting new series because I think they're so fun to start. So I don't technically care as much if that number of 53 series grows, but what I do want to be mindful of is actually moving through them, getting to finales, and not just reading the first book in 53 series and never continuing. So the list of series I continued with wasn't that impressive for the last 3-4 months, however long it's been, and I want that to be better for next update as well. But I'm going to share with you, I have 4 finales or to be caught up on in a series that I definitely want to prioritize this winter. This might shock some of you, but I still have not read Iron Flame. Fourth Wing was my favorite book last year, and this received such wishy-washy reviews. So I want to go into it without having the negativity lingering in the back of my mind and really dedicate time, focus, energy to this when I'm in a good headspace so that I can try my best to enjoy this book. I know that people don't like it as much as Fourth Wing, and that's okay with me, but right now I am feeling the negative vibes surrounding this book, this release. And I did from the moment it landed at my doorstep. There were already bad reviews circulating, and I don't want those thoughts to be in my head when I dive into this book. I hope that makes sense. And then I have 3 adult fantasy finales that I really want to get to. I want to step back into my adult fantasy era. There's a lot of fantasy I want to read this year. I want to read less Kindle Unlimited, fluffy, whatever books just for the sake of, they're a fun time. I'm not not ever reading those, but I want to get back to my roots a little bit, get back to some adult fantasy, some fantasies with a little more substance that I know I'm going to enjoy instead of so many quick 3-star, what are those called? Like popcorn reads. I want fewer popcorn reads in 2024. That seems kind of counterintuitive because they are so fun and I do have a good time reading them. But I want to read more adult fantasy. That's what I'm getting at. So first I have The Winter of the Witch by Catherine Arden. This is on my January TBR. I am going to prioritize finishing off the Winter Night trilogy. I gave The Bear and the Nightingale and The Girl in the Tower 4.5 or 5 stars. I really love this series. The writing is stunning. I'm less intimidated by this than the other 2 books that I'm holding. It's not very long, and I know I'm going to finish this series this month, so this will be a win. These other 2 I'm intimidated by for literally no reason than just me getting in my head. The first is The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. Brandon Sanderson really intimidates me, and I don't know why, because I've read quite a number of his books now, but they're always so hard for me to actually pick up. And then I fly through them and give them 4 or 5 stars. I have such a good time once I do it. It's I almost need to be forced to sit down and read a couple of chapters, and then I'll be sucked in and ready to go. This is the finale of the first era of Mistborn. I really want to get into era 2 as we had the 4th book released last year, and eventually, I don't know if I will have time in 2024, I would love to start the Stormlight Archive. I do own The Way of Kings. Again, super intimidated by the Cosmere. I need to read this. And then lastly, I have a brick of a book. This is Assassin's Quest by Robin Hobb, the 3rd book in the Farseer trilogy, the first part of the Realm of the Elderlings. Again, absolutely loved books 1 and 2. I love following Fitz. These are adult fantasies that are not for everyone. They're very character driven, very slow, hard hitting. There's a lot of mental health representation in these books that can be hard to read sometimes. Fitz does not have it easy at all. I cried in both of the other books. This one is much bigger than the other 2. This book is as thick as it is tall. It's so huge, but I really want to dive further into Robin Hobb. Similarly to Brandon Sanderson, they have a huge backlist of books that I really want to get through. I do own Ship of Magic to pick up after this, which is into the next trilogy you're supposed to read, and I just want to pick my way through Realm of the Elderlings and the Cosmere books. I want to dive back into these adult fantasy series that I am so excited to be a part of, and yet I'm intimidated by them, and it's mostly because of the size, and I feel that these books require more brain power, and I, as a busy mom of 3, do not always have the brain cells available to fully immerse myself in these books, but again, I need to prioritize them. This has been happening way too often. I feel like I need to buy more memory cards. My memory cards are full. This happened with the last video I tried to film for this channel. This is so weird. Those are the series finales that I have on my physical TBR that I do want to prioritize this winter. hold me accountable, encourage me in the comments, and I will be keeping you updated on my book buying ban, needing to prioritize books on my physical TBR. I will be tracking, and you can let me know in what format you would like for me to update those numbers on. I need to read 30 books off my physical TBR before my book buying ban is lifted. And a goal for me this year is obviously to complete series, especially those 12 or 13 series that I only have one book left before I can cross them off my list. I really need to prioritize those. The kids are getting rowdy. I have filmed so many videos today that my voice is going. I hope you guys enjoyed this very quick series update and an update to how my challenge went. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up so that I know, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.